And now, Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell Blanken. Tyler, it is Sunday. Clash has happened in Paris. Wrestling events happened in Phoenix. Iconic locations were visited and honored, I think is the right word. This week, I don't know if you can call it as a location, but it certainly happened in that location. But before I pass it to you, I want to say happy birthday to my dad, Dale Winchester. Happy birthday. As we record this, it is his birthday. I'll be calling him after we record. He's having a party right now and hopefully having a lot of fun with some friends up in Wisconsin. Tyler, how are you?
Man, well, happy birthday. Buen cumpleaños to your pops. Shout out Dale. I can't wait. Can't wait to hear how your conversation goes. That's incredibly special. I didn't know you were going to mention that. I didn't know it's his big day. That is the proper way to start out this episode of GI. Brad, this is one of those special editions because I just saw you yesterday. That doesn't happen very often.
No.
So
it was a bit like a fever dream for me. I just feel like it's like I'm here and then I'm gone. Which just happened. I still smell like sunscreen.
Yes. Yeah, that sunscreen that sunscreen perfume, that sunscreen fragrance. Yeah, man. No, it was great to see you. I'm still riding that high of the event we went to and getting to chop it up with you. And it was one of those where we actually got to grab food and catch up and then watch some wrestling. It was the perfect combo.
Really
I know we'll get into that in our edition of Live Event Jones. Like you said, we'll talk about WWE Clash in Paris. We have AEW questions for each other. I want to talk to you about a Cracker Barrel theory that I have. So I
have a feeling I know what it is because I probably share that theory with you. Yeah.
Interesting. We're going to cover a lot of bases, but I am doing well. I'm grateful today. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. I could tell I'm fighting off something, fatigue, a cold, something I caught cleaning out that shop. Who knows? I could tell you that it might be because we were crammed like sardines into a pool hall to watch some graps last night. When I say I've never been closer to a person to watch a wrestling show, I mean, that kid was basically sitting on my leg for the first third of the event. He kept backing up. He'd like scooch in his chair and the chair would slide back. And I was like, I can't move. My knee is on his butt. It's on it right now. And there's nowhere for me to go. How many times do you think we got up last night?
I can confirm. I actually want you to know that I have this in my notes for our live event recap, specifically your seating and all that came.
It was crazy.
That. Yeah, we got up, and what's interesting is that we were sitting next to two women. They were to our left, who warned us, "Hey, these seats not great because we're gonna have to get up a lot." And I didn't really process at the time. I was like, "Oh, okay, no worries. Thanks for the heads up." I didn't realize at the time you and I would literally get up a couple dozen times during this event for either fellow patrons to go to the bathroom or get food, or for staff to walk through to drop off beverages and food, man. So it was crazy, but I will say, shout out to the people of Phoenix, shout out to the wrestling fans here, because generally people were kind. They said thank you,
yes.
They said excuse me, and for any of our viewers who have been to any semblance of a live event, wrestling show, concert, etc., you don't always get that. So I take the wins where I can get them, and I'm glad people were at least appreciative of our willingness to not only move our legs but also just get up, because we were packed in there, man. You even estimated there were probably about 500 people at Bull Shooters.
It's probably way over estimating. My guess is it's like, looking back, it's probably like 350 to 400, but it felt
like 500
full. That place was full, and it got loud, and it was cool. Like, don't get me wrong, it was cool. One of my favorite things was when we sit back down, because you sat closer to the aisle, we had to back all the way out of our chairs, stand by a trash can while people got through, and then you'd go back in, and I sat down, and the look on the woman that sat behind you, looking at you sitting down and looking at the chair, just this look on her face while you're doing it, like, this is a problem right here. I'm like, where do we go, ma'am? Like, we don't want to be this close to you. This is the setup. It's a packed house. It's a very popular event.
The perils of, and maybe, I don't know if we've officially gone into Live Event Jones territory. It feels like we're here now, Brad. This is pretty close. These are the perils of general admission. We weren't VIP. We were amongst our fellow everyday people, and when you're general admission, sometimes you got to just get in where you can fit in.
Yeah. And I think to that end, having VIP, it makes sense. But I think wrestling shows in particular, and then we'll get into Live Event Jones here, this is just in general, are this sort of weird space. It's like every wrestling event is sort of like a music festival where you have all these different bands and different groups that are just there to perform for the festival, but aren't part of a giant company. You know, like these are all individual brands working under this umbrella. Like AWF is putting on the event and booking the shows, but like they're independent for a reason. They're independent contractors that are getting paid to go work. And, you know, like having the VIP passes usually means limited access. But Tyler, you know, we were waiting in line in general admission. We're like, all right, cool. Now the general admission, we're probably going to have like 100 people there for VIP. We'll get in and find our seats. Place was already packed and we were like 8th in line. So it was crazy how many people were already there when we were waiting in line to get in, like a bunch of jabronis, where I was like thinking, oh, we're going to have great seats. We're going to get pick of the litter. And it was like the place had already filled up. I was like, this is wild, man. But in that wrestling space in particular, if you want to get autographs or see your favorite talent, especially the talents that's booked only for that card, like people we'll talk about in a minute. I don't want to spoil it. We'll save it for Live Event Jones. Was, you know, like how do you get access to it and have the time to do it if you don't do the VIP event? It's more income for the company. All of those things matter. Logistically, I don't know how you pull it off in any way that makes sense. But they managed to put on a pretty good show that felt, you know, it felt like an indie show, but it felt safe. There wasn't really any point where I was like, I'm worried about this getting out of hand, other than we were joking about the one exit door on either side and having 8 million people in a room, and some of them, they're not getting through that door if they don't turn sideways. So there was a lot going on in there, like a lot going on. I saw so many canes and walkers and scooters and wheelchairs that all I could think is like, in the event of an emergency, I don't know what's going to happen with these folks that need to get out in a hurry and are going to need assistance, because I don't know, man. But I never felt like it was any danger, and it looked like they had everything put together pretty well. It was a fun thing, but we got to talk about it. So let's formally get into it. Play the music. It's time for Live Event Jones.
Brad, it's been a minute since we've had a Live Event Jones. Has it been since AEW Double or Nothing? Surely you or I have been to something live since then, no?
I don't even think we called it Live Event Jones, because we were going to talk about it anyway, because it was a pay-per-view.
Wow. Okay.
So well, I don't think we ever got into it.
Well, this is a glorious return. You led us right into this perfectly, man. Arizona Wrestling Federation's Overdrive, the 12th anniversary of this massive annual show. I'm going to get right into my notes here, Brad. What I will say about this show is the bullshooters of it all. Can we just start there? We've spoken about it on air before.
So good.
I think I've hyped it up sufficiently enough. Can we start with the location? What did you think of Phoenix's infamous pool hall bullshooters? How was bullshooters for you?
I have lived out here for 17 years of my 19-year teaching career. I spent 24-ish living in the Midwest, Upper Peninsula, and then 2 years more living in Wisconsin for a couple of years. It is the first time in Southern Arizona, or Arizona in general, that I ever felt like I was walking into a Midwest establishment. There was the immediate, like, Tyler, maybe I'm wrong about this, but you can't smoke inside that place. But if you were to visually show this place to anybody, they're going to say it smells like cigarettes. Like, there's no disputing this. Like, you look at it and it's like, that's stale beer and cigarettes is what that is. I saw the pictures online and I was like, okay, it was an empty pool hall. And then I walked in and it was like people with like tank tops on and like their tats were out. None of them were in shape. Like all of these things, right? Like that you would see at a bowling alley somewhere in the Midwest in the summer. Pitchers, the classic pitchers of beer, with the lines on them, you know, the giant handle, like all of that stuff was in full effect. All the ads on the top for local places, radio stations, events, the early aughts logo for bull shooters, the all of it was like, we know what we are. We know what we are, and we are not going to stay away from what we are. You get what you think you're going to get. I thought it was awesome because of that, because it felt for me, it felt super familiar. It felt like we're about to go have a good time in a place that probably has a vending machine full of cigarettes. And also like that's all I can think is like, it reminded
a cigarette
me of
vending machine is crazy.
Okay, Mr. Donut was right down the street from the Bowl-O-Rama in Escanaba, Michigan, and in Mr. Donut, cigarette vending machine. You had to put in your money, pull a glass tab out, and your box of cigarettes would fall. I didn't know what the hell cigarettes were when I was a kid. I just wanted to buy the pack of cigarettes out of the super cool machine. I didn't actually know what I was going to buy. I was like, you get the football helmet,
right? Yeah, you weren't worried about the
Kmart.
Nicotine. You just wanted the experience.
I just wanted to pull the lever. I don't care what comes out of there.
I get it.
My whole goal was something arrived. I think that was like the best. That place gave me really nostalgic vibes. We got in line. Vibes changed a little bit from there, because then it was like people losing their minds about it not opening precisely at 6 p.m. to let them in. And it was like, that took you long enough, and people were shouting and stuff. And it's like, it's 6:06. It's 6:06. Have you never gone to a show before? Do you not know? It's 6:06. Look at the venue. Look at the venue. This isn't Broadway. Okay? This isn't like the person getting the tickets didn't get a master's degree in hospitality management. Freaking relax, man. You're about to go see a wrestling event. Go have a good time. Just wait for the line to get in so we all get in safely. They're not letting us in because they're afraid of what's going to happen. We all go sprinting in the middle of A, match, B, people already all over there, and C, people trying to serve drinks, get people that need accessibility options into their seats. And you're out here going, you're taking too long. Good Lord. That part got me. But in terms of the physical venue, I'm not going to lie, that HVAC was struggling toward the end of the night, like a lot. It was cool. It was warm, but it was still cool at the start of the night. By the end of the night, I was like, it's starting to get kind of hot. All the water in my body had evaporated. It was the driest mouth I've ever had on the way home, because I just didn't want to leave to go get something to drink. I should have just grabbed the lady that we got out of the way for 600 times, who was serving people and was awesome. Every time she looked at us, it was like, I'm sorry. And we had to get up.
Yeah, and we told her, hey, you have
she's
nothing
like, don't
to be
worry,
sorry
this is your
about.
job. It's
you're
like,
killing it. You're doing great.
Yeah, she was awesome.
She was very kind. I agree.
She was awesome. So I thought it was great. The show was great. I thought AWF did a really good job with production. Their video packages that they had to set up the matches are better than some that AEW put out, because they don't even use motion graphics all the time. So shout out to their media team for whoever's doing that. But sound guy, you got to turn the game down, man. You got to turn the game down. It's just crusty, people shouting into a mic. You got like all the way down, output all the way up, or you gotta get a bigger monitor system. That's really it. And like those are expensive as all balls. So just turn the game down a little bit. We'll be in good shape. But I thought other than that, it was a lot of fun, man. Most of the fans there were fans of wrestling. Some of the fans there were problematic. And the look on your face, I got to stress this to the audience, I couldn't tell if it was disbelief, fear, shock, but you had this look of just deep concern and what the bleep is happening about you right out of the gate. We had the first women's match on the card. You popped for Mojave Desert, and then I can't even remember the talent's name, came out to the ring. She was awesome. All the talent last night were a ton of fun. And then a fan said something stupid about being a woman, not being able to work, that stuff, like not being just stuff you shouldn't be saying when you look like that. And she unloaded on this dude, unloaded on this guy. And I found myself going, yeah, she's right. I know she's a heel. She's right. I'm agreeing with her taking this dude out.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome. But your face, I was convinced you're going to be like, I think we should go. Like I was convinced you were going to say it.
That is something I would say at this point in my life. I just didn't know. I didn't know what was for the show and what was the work versus the shoot. And I didn't know what he said. And usually in these type of smaller venues, you can hear just about everything.
Yeah.
But like you said, Brad, credit to the crowd because people were up the whole night in terms of just their engagement and their participation. And in the case of this guy, he literally stood up and got into a back and forth. And I guess, it wasn't anything where he had to be escorted out of the venue or what have you. But yeah, like you said, when you mix just general dorks with alcohol, with, just lots of people and you want to be memorable and what have you, just things can happen. And you and I have had these experiences at wrestling shows at big time arenas, Desert Diamond Arena, the PHX Arena. So, if stuff can happen there and people can get real colorful and real spicy, at the local bullshooters, naturally, you got to be prepared. But clearly I was not prepared because, I was like, man, from the first match, like, we really can't have nice things.
I love that you made it a franchise. That's it. I just wanted to say that. I love that you made it a franchise. The local bullshitters. From
the jump? Yeah. Well, and I called it infamous, but, when I look up the definition for infamous, that's not necessarily a compliment.
Connotation there, huh?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's just, it's a well-known establishment. I'm glad you had a good time, Brad. Let's not bury the lead. We obviously were at Overdrive for one main reason, and that was to support, I have the shirt on, Arizona's own Fallyn Gray.
Let's go.
Brad, one of your former students at Marana High School, you met Gray through the theater program. We got to meet her. So right after the show, as most indie shows, how this process goes is once that final bell rings, everyone starts to go into the hallway to meet the wrestlers and form a line at their booths. So luckily, you and I heard that final bell. We went right into the hallway. We were, I think, second in line for Fallyn Gray's booth. And you got to reconnect with her. I got to meet her for the first time. What an incredibly kind, talented person. Like, I was already a fan just based on the work and her ascension in the industry, only being a couple years into the business. But then actually getting to meet her and interact with her for a brief period. So humble, so sweet. And seeing you two interact, from Newsies all the way to AWF Overdrive, it filled my heart. It filled my cup. I was just so overjoyed by that. So she was phenomenal. She did not win the women's four-way, but there were some big,
feeling a certain way about that.
Yeah, and that match ended pretty abruptly. So not only were we in our feelings about Fallyn Gray not winning, but then the match itself ended a bit abruptly. Priscilla Kelly won this match.
Surprise roll-up.
Yeah, surprise roll-up. So she's now the interim women's champion at the Arizona Wrestling Federation, and she will go on to challenge Shotzi at next month's AWF event to crown a new AWF women's champion. This title was previously vacated by Elena Black, who stepped away to take some time off for mental health and for all the right reasons. But just quick notes, Brad, in terms of what stood out to me. First two, Brad's Bullshooters experience, and then second, Fallyn Gray. We got the tea. This is a Fallyn Gray podcast. Can't wait to see what she does from here. Big shout out to her. We hurt people chants for Cedric Alexander.
Amazing.
Love that. Like you said, knowledgeable fan base. There were lots of women in the audience. I don't know what people may conceive of local indie shows, or especially if they haven't been to an AWF show or Bullshooters, but there were a lot of women in the audience. And you pointed this out, Brad. There were fans of all ages. There were kids there. There were people our age there. There were older fans there. It really you and I have said this on air on multiple occasions. Wrestling to me is such a microcosm of American society because you just get all different types of people into this venue for entertainment. People with different political beliefs and backgrounds and life experiences and ethnicities, and it just wrestling continues to be such a fascinating form of entertainment in that regard. But yeah, lots of women came through, so it was great that it wasn't just a bunch of dudes packed in to, watch some grabs, but it was a diverse fan base. Finally, lots of CM Punk tees. There were even "We Want Cross" chants during the main event featuring Matt Cardona, which I think threw him off and threw me off as well because Killer Cross is not walking through that door, at least not tonight. And there were also "We Want Chelsea" chants aimed at Matt Cardona, as well as
Chelsea's husband.
Clap, clap, clap. And of course, in character as a heel, that got under Matt Cardona's skin. But I would imagine the person probably felt really good about, I'm married to a baller, and I being known as Chelsea's husband is not a bad thing. So super fun event, Brad. Would definitely go again. And any chance we can to support Fallyn Gray, check her out across the socials at Fallyn Gray, Fallyn Gray, Grey. She's amazing, and meeting her was definitely the highlight of the night.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Getting to watch her, because she's relatively young too, not just in general, but in the business. It's wild. I never got to have her in the classroom, but I got to work with her kind of with Newsies. It was one of those things where I was trying to make sure that the printing press stays working, and that when people go on the set, it doesn't collapse and kill the orchestra. So we didn't get to cross paths very often, but there was one rehearsal I remember saying, like, "Hey, you're great up here. Keep going." I doubt she remembers that. For some reason, I remember that because she just stood out. And, we did the show, and every night I'm like, that kid is so good. And somebody else referenced it, that they have an award named after, over at Mountain View, they named an award after one of the particular ensemble members at one point. They're like the Tyler McDowell Blanken Award for being a standout for an ensemble cast member. So it's like people would come up and see this person in the chorus and just be like, that show was great. Who was the kid she was that person? She was like, didn't have a main part or, a bunch of lines or anything like that, but like just kind of stole the show because she's so expressive. And last night I was like, oh my gosh, she gets it, because you have to be big. You can't just go up there and be boring. And if something happens and you're surprised, you can't just go, "Oh crap," or what MJF usually does, which always pops me. But it's got to be like big. My eyes have to be popping wide, and just like you have to do everything to let the crowd know that something bad just happened. And I thought she did a wonderful job of that. But to your point, so humble. My favorite part wasn't just getting to reconnect briefly, because she had a line. My takeaways were, there is a pretty established AWF fan base. They knew the chants, they knew the talent, they knew who the heels were, who the baby faces were. They're along for the ride, and it seems like this is probably a pretty regular outing for these folks. And really cool, supportive wrestling scene in Phoenix. I had no idea how good that was. The other thing is that the AWF has to find a bigger venue. Bullshitter's fine, but like if you get that kind of talent while you're building talent who are going to take off and get signed, like, you're going to need some more seats. And that space is pretty cool, and it's super tight and all that stuff, and it works out. But man, you ran out of room. You probably could have sold a couple hundred more tickets, and that show sold out, which is incredible, because that means the talent probably got to sell a lot of merch, do autographs. They got it paid because the tickets sold, all of that stuff. I just, man, I can't say enough about how she interacted with the little girl who was ahead of us. And that was the part. And that she was like so happy that we were there, but also like, "Oh, I lost tonight." I was like,
yeah, she said I crashed out.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's okay. That's,
literally, I was trying to, Tyler and I recorded the finish of that
you.
match by accident. So I wanted to see, like, I was like, I got to get a cool shot of this. We'll put it up on socials.
And then it was 1, 2, 3, Priscilla Kelly.
She got caught by SOS. It took a gnarly bump onto the apron. Oh, it's just a dead thud. And then Priscilla Kelly pulling up after Zaya, looking outside the ring like, what's going on down here? And then just womp. 1, 2, 3, roll up. That was it. The crowd was shocked. They were shocked. Was that not the weirdest night reaction by the crowd?
It was.
It wasn't it wasn't cheering. It's just everybody went, oh, and it was the weirdest sound I've ever heard.
We wanted more.
It was crazy. But I thought all the women showed up and showed out. Huge thanks to Fallyn Gray for inviting us out and getting to see her. That was just such a special moment. I can't wait to wear my tee. I can't wait to take a shower first. When I tell you that I got into the driveway and then walked in the house and immediately sat down to be in a meeting to then go right into this, I'm like, I am ready to rinse off the pool water. I'm struggling here. And then it's time for laundry, and we're going to get that Fallyn Gray tee ready to go for Labor Day, I think. That's going to be
Let's go. Labor Day weekend, 2K25. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, Tyler, we're huge fans of women's wrestling around here. I don't think that's a secret. If you've been watching the show or listening to the show for any length of time, you know how we feel about women's wrestling around here. And there's one particular woman we focus on more than almost any other. And it's time. I don't think we've done it in a little bit. It's time.
Steph Watch.
It's time for my favorite segment of the week. Stephanie Vaquer Appreciation. Brad, it's Steph Watch. I wish I had more to say. I am in my feelings. I almost crashed out today because Stephanie Vaquer did not have a match at Clash in Paris, which is not a surprise, but for weeks, and really going back to Evolution 2, the best PLE of the year, mind you. We can talk about that maybe in a little bit. When she won that Battle Royal, she then earned the right to challenge the Raw Women's Champion at Clash in Paris. So for weeks, I've been looking forward to her having a big match on this show and possibly winning her first title on the main roster. Obviously, with news of Naomi expecting, plans change. Big shout out to Naomi doing some of the best work in wrestling in all of 2025. Plans have changed, and now on the September 1st edition of Raw, Adam Pearce will announce who will face Stephanie Vaquer for the vacated title and when it will occur. Stephanie Vaquer's got to win the match. It doesn't matter who it's against, Brad. I don't know if you have any favorites in terms of who she's going to challenge. It don't matter to me. La Primera's got to win that match. I would love for the match to take place tomorrow night, or by the time we release this, tonight on Raw. At most, we wait till the September 8th edition. But Adam Pearce, this has got to get done. I am not waiting longer than a week. You know who needs to go over. It is La Primera's time. Let's do this thing.
Where do you want it in 1 week?
I want it on Raw. I don't even know where Raw is going to be on September 8th. Doesn't matter to me. That's where we crown Steph Vaquer. If not tonight in Paris.
Well, we have another Worlds Collide event happening though soon too, right?
We do at UNLV on the 12th, a week from this Friday.
I have a feeling that's where it's going to be.
Wow, you got a main event right there. If you're not doing Vikingo versus Dom as the main event, Stephanie Vaquer versus insert name.
I was going to say somebody from AAA could challenge for that. Or maybe they do a tourney. I don't know. Maybe there's a surprise there. I don't see that happening. That's
a great call, Brad. If you need to move tickets, because I don't think there's been any matches confirmed as of this recording for that show. If you need to move tickets, man, let's do it. That's a great idea.
It's the right crowd. It's still in the States. Like right. all of those things make sense.
Yep.
You're going to get that WWE fan base out there for sure. Plus, you'll have that AAA. I don't know that. I want to say style. It just has a different feeling to it, where it feels more like pro wrestling and less like WWE pro wrestling. I think that hopefully that makes sense. You're not getting. I don't think Finn Balor's using a puppet on Raw to fight a dude with a puppet. You know what I mean? Like I just don't see that happening. But I know them being like, yeah, you could do it on Worlds Collide, do it in the AAA show, have fun, make it be pro wrestling. We have this other product that our stakeholders expect at Netflix, at Fox. We can't be doing that stuff because this is what we promised them. I'm sure that's some sort of content agreement, but you could do all of that stuff if that's something that fits with what AAA does. But also having Stephanie Vaquer there, total no-brainer, and then having her challenge somebody else, giving that not only to a WWE crowd but a AAA crowd, I think is just It's good for everybody involved. It's going to get eyes on that. I feel like that's where it needs to be. That's probably where it's going to be. But I'm with you. If it's still not happening by the end of September, then everything needs to go. The whole thing needs to get shut down.
And God forbid, I don't have any idea when the next Saudi show is. But if there's a world in which we have to wait for Steph to have a match there, if she has a signature match at whatever that next show is, I'm going to be disappointed because I will not see it. You and I haven't even talked on this episode yet about Clash in Paris, which I know we'll get into in a moment, being the final WWE PLE on Peacock. You and I have exchanged messages. Now that the luster wore off of WWE signing with ESPN and how excited we were that wrestling is mainstream and more people can watch it than ever, now it's set in. Oh, we got to pay $30 to $40 to watch WWE PLEs? I don't feel as euphoric as I did a few weeks ago when I was happy for the business. So I love your idea of Worlds Collide. I do agree with you, though. I do not want to wait past, in your world, September 12th. We can't wait any longer. And when the match does happen, whoever it is against, Stephanie Bakir needs to win. This is her time. I will accept no other options.
Saturday, October 11th is Crown Jewel, but that's in Perth. So either way, that's a long time away.
Yeah.
Do it sooner.
And then WWE hits up the valley. SmackDown's going to be at ASU, at Mullet Arena. And then this was announced since we last recorded, Brad. NXT Halloween Havoc is going to be at Prescott Valley. What an interesting...
Yeah, that one shocked me.
The Finley Center
that one,
holds about 5,000. It's about an hour or so from the greater Phoenix area. Yeah, really interesting. I've not heard of a major wrestling show happening, but shout out to our audience in Prescott. That's a great look for them. I'm sure tickets are going to move, and I'm excited to see what that card ends up looking like.
You know what? Phoenix has got a lot going on. Arizona's got a lot going on, right? We have that going on. September 27th in Phoenix, AWF is also hosting Retribution. We will get to see a couple of matches that we got confirmed tonight or last night, I think, right? We have Priscilla Kelly is the champion. We'll be facing Shotzi Blackheart for the AWF Women's Championship. That sounds fun. I don't know. I think my money would go there before having to go donate plasma to get SmackDown tickets. Because it's the only way that's happening.
In case you were wondering, we do not have tickets for any of the upcoming WWE shows, including Monday Night Raw, December 1st, back in Glendale, because tickets are crazy, yo.
It'll be cheaper
WWE,
for me to travel.
Where's the GI discount?
Spend the night, go to Bullshooters, spend another night, drive back, than to just go to SmackDown.
Straight up. And I think...
And sit at the top row in the back, where if I yell, it'll take 25 minutes for it to reach the ring.
Listen, Desert Diamond Arena recently unveiled some new renovations. I've not been since, but
were they
excited?
Were they painted over the Coyote logo, but you can still see it?
It's quite possible.
In front of the urinals.
It's quite possible. What I will say is, as that December 1st Raw gets closer, and I'm assuming Steph will still be champion by then, it's going to be hard to not get tickets to go to that. But I mean, good for the business and good for the talent, right?
Yeah,
hopefully
absolutely.
They are the beneficiaries of these increased prices. But yeah, the game has changed, Brad, even since, a year ago when we were able to attend a couple of different events. Prices have gone up, and now you mix that with the new streaming requirements, and we love this thing, man. We dedicate we dedicate a lot of our time and our income to this entertainment we love. But it's because, bringing it back full circle, the performers are so good at what they do. And while Clash in Paris was not my favorite show of the year, I thought there were definitely some standout performances. Well,
let's get into it then, because we are a little long in the show, and we haven't talked WWE outside of Steph. So let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's get into it. Clash in Paris, 30,000 plus fans filled the arena in France. Okay, Brad, there were, to my count, 6 matches on this show. Big spot for Bronson Reed to open against Roman Reigns. Roman ends up winning, only to get, he wins. He chokes out Paul Heyman for revenge, only to get beaten up again by the Vision. Braun Breaker comes out of nowhere. As Roman is signing Jordans and throwing them into the crowd, Braun Breaker comes out of nowhere, spears him through a table. More spears occur. We'll throw in a few tsunamis, a stretcher spot, and then we move on. But this literally felt like it took an hour, the first hour of the show, between the entrances, between the match, between the aftermath. It felt like something I had seen on Raw multiple times already. Of course, we know, and this actually shocked me. I didn't realize I said on commentary, Roman Reigns has only worked 4 matches so far this year. But given his schedule, his limited schedule, that he has earned, you got to give him the treatment of, okay, if we're not going to see him till maybe November, he doesn't just disappear, but he actually gets taken out. If anything, I think this would have been a cool opportunity for Bronson Reed to go over, because I'm expecting Roman Reigns to come back, and let's say, at Survivor Series, he gets his revenge, right? The comeuppance on the Vision. I thought if anything, okay, well maybe this kind of goes back to the Solo Sikoa January 6th Netflix premiere, where I think sometimes Roman Reigns can afford to lose a match. He's a made man, and this could do wonders for talent, not only to share a ring with him in these spots, but actually to go over once in a while. Regardless, I enjoyed the match. All of it just took too long for me, particularly the aftermath. I just felt like it was a bit excessive. And the suspension of disbelief that you have anywhere from 6 to 15 staff members out there in character, between backstage folks to medical personnel,
all the extras,
and they just let Roman Reigns get beaten up time and time again. Like, you're telling me 12 guys can't corral 2 performers, and it just, the suspension of disbelief sometimes, even as a diehard wrestling fan, kind of takes me out of it. But happy for the talent involved, and particularly for Bronson Reed in this case.
Well, Roman's filming Street Fighter, so he'll be gone for 3 weeks. And hopefully back after that. So my guess is that within a month he'll be back on TV. I don't know, probably exactly a month, but it's August 31st. We have all of September. Maybe the move is Perth. Maybe he comes back for Perth, because it's middle October, which is quite a ways away. But it is, their next big pay-per-view? There's got to be one in between there. Is Survivor Series in between there? I thought
WrestlePalooza is the same day as All Out, September 20th, and then Perth, and then I believe that next one would be Survivor Series in November in San Diego.
Sorry, I forgot about
WrestlePalooza. How could you forget? That's the next big one.
It's because of the name. That's why I forgot. Because it sounds like a con, like. Not like a con artist con. It feels like people are going to go to sign posters at WrestlePalooza before a big event, which was not called WrestlePalooza. WrestlePalooza opens before SummerSlam, so you could go and get your favorite. Anyway, cool. Really excited for that one. But I have nothing to add. Wyatt 6 retained. What do you make of all of this with the Street Profits beefing with each other? You compared them to Grand Theft Auto characters, not realizing they came out actually dressed with Borderlands masks on. Yeah.
Admittedly, you are
shameful.
You are in the right to call me out.
Shameful.
I completely missed the note about the Borderlands partnership. So you're right. I hit up you and Mike Steph. Shout out to Mike Steph. We'll reference him here in a few minutes. Because the outfits for the Profits reminded me of characters from Grand Theft Auto Vice City, a game that I love, by the way. Back in
it's
PS2 days.
It's the tank, right? The white tank.
Yeah. This is an ode to Tanisha Singleton. I have questions after this match. My notes: Street Profit split incoming? ? We've thought about the possibility of this for years. They're really leaning into these teases as of late, where maybe there's a path that I would expect Angelo Dawkins to turn on Montez Ford. I just think it's time. I think, frankly, both talents could use a fresh coat of paint and chart out on their own as singles competitors. I have been driving the bus for the Montez Ford for world title contention for years. You've been riding shot with me on that bus, and it just hasn't happened. But also, Angelo Dawkins could really show people, I get Montez Ford is often thought of as the star of this team, but I can do I can do swantons. I can work with anyone on the roster and be phenomenal. So that's my first question: is when is this going to happen? Because now that we got the tease, I need it imminently. Wyatt 6 still relevant? Question mark, which may sound kind of blasphemous, but I wonder, Brad, have they fallen into the trap of spooky characters holding gold too soon? Because I remember when the Fiend debuted, and I'll never forget. In my mind, this really happened in no short order when it was the Fiend versus Seth Rollins at that infamous Hell in a Cell match in Sacramento when the Fiend won the title. And I think we just had a collective moment as a fan base of, wait, I don't think the Fiend character would want gold. I don't think the Fiend would care about winning championships. I think the Fiend just wants to take your soul and whatever else. So I wonder for the Wyatt 6, I'll never forget their debut of committing multiple homicides in gorilla position. And so now, what are we, less than a year since that debut? And they're holding gold. They're heels because Uncle Howdy cheated for them to win. I think this act...
But nobody cares.
Yeah, I think this act still has potential, but to me, we've fallen so far down from where that debut originally started, and I just wonder if them having gold is actually more of a hindrance than it is, propelling them into an important status on the card. What say you?
I'm with you, and I think the place that they could have or should have gone or could still, they should be doing what the Death Riders did. Like, imagine them just winning it and going like, none of you deserve it. You're all broken, and leaning into that part of that character, right? Like, we're going after these people because they need to be taught a lesson. Very much like the Fiend. Every time he wrestled somebody, their character changed, right? Have them do that, but just be like, the tag team division's a mess and they don't deserve any of this. Unless a true contender shows up, we're not even going to let you approach winning anything, and we're keeping them for ourselves. And then just hold the titles hostage rather than caring about the titles. Because why would you care about it? Like, I understand like why a wrestler would care about a wrestling title. I get that part. But to your point, like, if they're part of the Wyatt family, Bray Wyatt being the leader of the Wyatt family, Bray Wyatt's character never really cared about that stuff either. They just put the belt on him. I was watching the Firefly Funhouse flashback somebody posted where it's like, it just feels like something's missing. And then the Universal title appeared in his hand. There it is. And I was just like, I like that idea that he has it in the Funhouse. But I hate that he brings it out ever. Mm-hmm. Like, keep it in the Funhouse. You're holding it hostage. Like, you're just doing it because chaos. I would love that, and I think that would fix everything. If you just make them go out and like take people out, do stuff for a purpose to tell a story, but like keep the belts off of them. They're Orange Cassidy at that point. Like, they don't need a belt to be beloved and to have a good story. And I think they could do a lot there.
Yeah, and part of it too is I've been a bit inconsistent at watching their journey on TV, just with my own fandom. So I think I've also, particularly over the summer, maybe missed important points in their storyline, just to figure out, okay, I know they're champs. I know, they had that crash filled match at WrestleMania with the ladders and tables, and that was fun. I'm glad everyone, to my recollection, walked out safe from that match. But yeah, I'm continuing to monitor where they're at, because there was so much fanfare for them when this started. But we've seen, particularly with spooky characters, but particularly with Bray Wyatt in WWE, how you had these perpetual starts and stops. And I wonder for the Wyatt 6 under this new regime, and because so much of the luster is paying homage to Bray, I would hope that they don't get lost in the shuffle. And maybe them having gold can ensure that, because they will be an important part of television every week. I'm just really interested to see where both of these teams go from here. The Wyatt 6 kind of as a group at large, because I'm not too invested in them. But then also for the Profits, because if you tease a split and you don't give it to the fan base, what are we doing? Both of these guys, Angelo and Montez, it's time for them to spread their wings and do their own thing. And I think we're getting closer to that, which is good. Moving on to the next match, Brad.
I don't disagree with you, Tyler,
okay,
before
please,
you move on.
Please.
But I'm aren't you a little worried that this is going to be the New Day? All right, move on. Moving on. You don't have to answer. Just move it on.
Okay.
Because you were like,
Yeah.
what are you going to do? We're going to tease a breakup and not do it? And like, we did
Right.
it. We literally did it. We saw it live, actually.
Yeah. We were right around that time, right before.
It was
a week before the official
Yeah.
split. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Which
true.
ended up not being a split, only from Big E.
Right. I want to say that was in November. I can't believe that was nearly a year ago.
That's crazy.
Sheesh.
It was.
Back when we could afford seats for these shows.
Yeah.
Good times. Okay, next match. My notes. I love Scottsdale's own Nikki Bella. It's hard for me to be objective when we discuss her. This match, Nikki Bella versus Becky Lynch for the IC Women's Championship, not the best match of the show, but the right woman won. Becky is the right person to hold the IC title right now. Mm-hmm. And I think back to, Brad, this is going back to in the vault for Marana High School when you and I were working together. I don't remember exactly what meeting we were at, but I remember being in the library and I was wearing a Becky Lynch The Man shirt. So I think to when she was in her, the original The Man era,
right,
and how we would talk about it at work. You know, she was inarguably the biggest pro wrestler on the planet in any promotion anywhere. And so her holding this title as we, as WWE works to establish these secondary championships, respectfully, the U.S. title on Julia, which, by the way, what are we doing with Julia? We gave Julia the title, but can we give her a match on a meaningful show? Can we give her a storyline? Her and Kiana James are together. Okay, happy for Kiana. But what are we doing here? So if we're going to make these titles matter, I think Becky Lynch holding the IC title is definitely the right move. I know we'll talk about her in regard to the main event, but I just think back to when I was totally into the Man character, and that really wasn't that long ago. So shout out to Becky for holding it down, for becoming a mom, and getting back into the ring and getting back in her bag. I just love that Nikki Bella got this match as well. Again, I know there were some spots where it wasn't necessarily the most seamless match, but just grateful to be able to see her work and glad she's getting her flowers. Mm-hmm. And she's Nikki Bella. It's hard for me to be objective. Shout out to her, because I think her being back in wrestling is definitely a big win. Even though I know she wasn't going to get the win in Paris, I think it's a huge W that she is involved in wrestling. And I think with these recent wins, Becky Lynch is also starting to build some additional cachet, and who knows, maybe get back to that point. I don't know if you can necessarily replicate the magic of the original The Man character, but I'm glad that she is back to being a centerpiece of WWE programming.
Completely agree, and shout out to Becky for debuting a new finisher.
Yes.
Yeah.
The linchpin, right?
Cool name.
Yeah,
I can't
dig
believe
it.
that hasn't been done yet.
Right.
Calling that it's manhandle slam. I get it, but Becky Lynch, linchpin.
Yeah,
brilliant.
Nikki Bella even hit the manhandle slam on Becky during the match. There were parts of this that were really fun. I wish, because you know how it is online, Brad, when sometimes people will clip certain moments, and if it looks messy or if it looks like there's a mistake or a botch.
Botchamania, we'll put it
yeah,
right?
yeah, and again,
like it's not a live performance.
Yeah,
stop.
Right.
That stuff makes me crazy.
Exactly, and particularly for Nikki Bella, who has taken a lot of time off and is now wrestling still relatively infrequently. I'm glad that she stepped in the ring, and hopefully, I know it's been reported that she signed on to frequently appear, and especially to wrestle on some of these bigger PLEs. So if she has a match at WrestlePalooza, or going down to the shows in Perth for Crown Jewel, or even Survivor Series in San Diego, our neighbors, so the state next to us, I'm excited to see the potential feuds and dance partners for Nikki. I'm just so glad she's back, and she seems to be doing well, and again, just getting her flowers after what seemed to be an incredibly challenging personal year for her last year. I'm just happy that she seems to be doing well, and she's reminded of how much people enjoy her.
Completely agree. We're just lucky to be able to watch. That's really it. Because the people that are criticizing all that stuff, like, probably trip getting the mail on the regular. So to be like, oh, this really complex move that they just did physically live in front of thousands of people in a foreign country after traveling, and they're like, oh, it wasn't perfect and seamless, and it's like,
yeah,
ass badger, you fell getting the mail.
We don't think about that with the travel involved and the, you know, being away from your family, and in her case, you know, having kids, much like Becky and much like many of the, even Roman Reigns,
I'm
who
struggling,
has like
and
5
it was an
kids.
hour and 15 minutes away from my
From-
home,
yeah.
and I feel like death. Like, I can't imagine going like, I'm
don't-
going to fly to Paris.
Right, and also this is before we talk about the final few matches on this card, because I know you tweeted about this. Thinking about this era we're in now with wrestlers and their relationship to fans, and how fans often don't know boundaries. And so that, I know that video came out online of Rhea Ripley being crowded by fans as she was trying to get into a vehicle. So then there's that element, which I guess has always existed, just celebrity hysteria. But now with social media and, hey, I have my phone, let me get this picture with you, or let me get this video with you, and what talent have to experience at airports and just walking around cities, especially someone like Rhea Ripley or like a Becky Lynch or like Nikki Bella, and for all performers, but I would say particularly for the women as well, there's just that safety aspect where there are a lot of fans who, because they have seemingly unlimited access to you in your life, they think they know you. They think you're their homegirl, their homeboy, and they can just roll up on you. And it's like, yo, this is a person. So shout out to Rhea Ripley for getting on her Instagram story and saying, yo, if you all don't know my boundaries, I'm going to bring the real Rhea Ripley out. And what did you put in your tweet? These
One
dudes,
piecing them?
these dudes are fortunate they didn't get one piece. Like, come on now. So there's also that element is when you and I go to work, we're not surrounded by fans trying to take, you know, videos and photos of us.
But the other thing too is they're going out there to take videos of a character. That's just the woman playing the character is going to her car.
Exactly.
Leave her alone.
The person
Like,
versus the character, for sure.
Buddy Matthews talking about when he found out like he loves her and he's like, I'm gonna marry her, and then saying like, I'm too scared not to. When he put her in a triangle choke, did you see that Van Vliet interview?
No.
He had her in a triangle,
I don't think
and
I did.
it was like tap out, and she said no, so he squeezed it a little harder, and it was like just tap out. No, he said I had her in a full choke. I was squeezing my legs and my arms as hard as I could, and she would not tap out. And then ended up like my legs were shaking, and she got out of it, and she like got me afterwards. She's like, she's terrifying. I've never seen anything like it, and it's like I had to like.
This is my person.
Yeah. So like, and she's my best friend, and I was like,
That's cool.
That's that dude. And if you've ever seen what that dude looks like, that dude is like, couldn't do it to her. She's too strong, way too tough. And those scrawny jabrones running in the parking lot are like running up to her face with a camera. Like she can't just grab them with one arm and throw them into outer space. And
Right.
dock them with the space station. Like it's crazy.
And for background, this isn't you and I, you know, trying to virtue signal for internet clout. Rhea Ripley mentioned this. There have been recent events with Roxanne Perez, and then also Elena Black, the artist formerly known as Cora Jade, went on that TMZ podcast and also mentioned part of what led to her going on this mental health break from wrestling was, you know, working dates across the country at indie shows, and there are fans where they just don't know boundaries and they think they know you. And
isn't it embarrassing?
I would think so.
You're gonna have a selfie of a blurry Rhea Ripley in the background and be going, like you did something, like, and you're gonna post that, and everybody's dunking on you and telling you what a piece of crap you are, and you're like, look, I did it. Look at how cool this is. When are you looking at this stuff? Like, what is it? Why would I don't even want that picture. Like, that's weird.
Right.
I wouldn't do that to somebody's Meemaw walking out of like Kroger. Like, it's weird.
Yeah, and to me, this transcends wrestling in that. In our, well, maybe not just in our country.
Yeah,
actually,
I'm just mad now, Tyler.
Well, yeah, because we do have.
I'm just mad. My heart rate thing's going off. Calm down.
Okay, you got the signal. I'll finish by saying this: we do have a fascination with celebrities, clearly not only in our country but worldwide. You brought up a great point in that wrestling is a bit different because we conflate the character with the person. You know, sometimes we forget, and sometimes wrestlers use their real names, but we forget there's the character that we see online that maybe we follow on social, but then there's a person who is totally different. And it's unfortunate that, you know, some of the fan base, I would not say the majority, but some of the fan base is still needing to learn, yo, this is a person. You gotta for all the reasons you said, Brad, whether we see them on the street, whether we're talking about their matches, you can be critical, but I think you also brought up a really good point in that sometimes we forget the people behind it. They're traveling, they have lives, they have mental health challenges, and sometimes that may impact how you perform. I know it does for me in my own job.
Yeah.
Right? I just don't
have
have
a ticket to go see that character, and you're sitting in the audience. Take all the pictures you want. They know they expect it there, but they don't expect it at Barnes and Noble up in the self-help section.
Exactly.
When they're there with their niece looking at Legos or something, and you're up there like, hey, weirdos, man. Yeah. It's just weirdo behavior. I believe I referred to them as dweebs, but like weirdo behavior. Did. Yeah, dweeb. It's just an underused word, man. You got to bring it back. Dweeb is such a good word. It's just such a old, great word. Not as old as a good old-fashioned Donnybrook, though. What are your thoughts about Rusev versus Sheamus? I have none.
I wrote 3 words, actually, for this match. Rusev won. Cool.
To have 3 words but 2 periods, that's hilarious. Okay, John Cena defeated Logan Paul by pinfall. This was good. Mm-hmm. This is a good one. How many finishers? 5?
Yeah.
5 different finishers, I believe.
Something like that. 5 finishers. I have 4 words for this match. 2 periods.
Get out of here.
Yeah. I wrote Cena won. Makes sense. Your thoughts?
I loved that John Cena kind of did a shout out to all of his opponents.
That was cool.
Especially the ones he's not going to be able to run back matches for.
The Angels Wings. I know you saw that. Styles Clash.
Hopefully we get
the AJ. We got to get the
Angels Wings. The End of Days. We have all these different. I thought that was a really cool shout, especially for talent that's not in the company anymore. I just thought that was super cool. Like, I don't think he's going to be doing a hurricane top rope hurricane, like a Frankensteiner's not coming out at this stage. We've seen him do it before, but I just think it was really cool. Well, maybe I'm wrong. I also wasn't expecting the Spanish Fly. I wasn't expecting stuff to get busted out that happened. I thought it was fun. I hated that it was John Cena versus Logan Paul on his kind of retirement tour. But if the plan is to have Logan Paul be more of a full-time wrestler and rather than a part-time wrestler, it's indisputable that he's great in the ring. He's so good, and his character is great because he's easily hateable. And it's just Logan Paul kind of cranked all the way up. So I have no problem with that. It's a draw. People enjoy it. It makes you root for the babyface a lot more. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that part. I have my own personal feelings about that, but if it's good for business, it's good for business. And I thought John Cena doing that match with that person, right person won, made Logan Paul look even better. All of those things happened in that match that ultimately doesn't really matter, right? It's just another one of his matches. And I think a lot of people are going to go, well, it should be against somebody else on this retirement tour. Okay, I agree. Who is it? Do you just stop all the stories so you can have a match? So it's just, it felt like the right time, right place. You get 2 big stars and you give it to Paris to have a fun night. They got a ridiculous moveset out of John Cena. And everybody walked away going, oh, that was pretty cool. Having one women's match on the card and having it being the shortest match is how I felt walking away from the show last night, going like, hey, the premier women's match was the shortest one, and it was the one I was most excited about last night for a variety of reasons at the AWF show. I was excited about Becky Lynch, Nikki Bella. By no stretch did I think it was going to steal the show, but I also thought like, oh, okay, it's not a great look when it's shorter than everything else. Finally, Tyler, we have Seth Rollins beating CM Punk, Jey Uso, and LA Knight. And I saw somebody online say this, which is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. Becky Lynch helped Seth Rollins in a surprise turn on CM Punk. That's all I have.
Yeah, so, and this is where we give a tip of the cap to former multi-time guest and friend of the show, dear friend of the show, Mike Steph, host of the Salty Lots of Mike Steph podcast. Check him out. So Mike thought this was predictable, that Becky Lynch would be the mystery assailant to join Seth Rollins, the Vision, team. But Mike brought up an interesting point, Brad. He hit us up and said, Seth is still getting babyface reactions. And so perhaps him being paired with his real-life wife, Becky Lynch, on screen, with Becky generating heel reactions, maybe this could be a way to establish more of a heel Seth. Because he's doing dastardly things. He's still wearing the outlandish clothes. But he has the theme song that we all love to sing. And it's just kind of this juxtaposition of, okay, he's supposed to be the most evil character on Monday nights. But at the same time, the fan reaction doesn't necessarily match that because, you know, even in the back during the promo before the match, Brad, Seth Rollins was saying, I am the greatest wrestler in the world, and this, that, and the other. And fans were like, yeah, we love you. You're very good at this. So Mike brought up an interesting point there, Brad. But yeah, this was very predictable. WWE commentary and the like were leaning really hard into, okay, Paul Heyman's at a local medical facility. I think they actually said hospital, so that's progress. Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed will not be interfering in this match, like for real this time. And Seth was even saying, oh, okay, I got to do it on my own. So who is in Paris? I don't think they're going to fly out Omos. You know, Omos can't get a phone call and in 2 hours be in
that door.
Yeah. Again, suspension of disbelief. I don't think you can just get to Paris in 2 hours just like that. So Becky makes all the sense considering we knew she was already on the card. But I think both of them have even alluded on screen lately to being each other's spouse in real life. So yes, it would seem that maybe the plan has been in motion for a few
Nikki
weeks
Bella
now.
promo stuff.
Yeah, exactly. My hot husband. And yeah. So I do like, oh, wow, there were some of those sprinkles. No pun intended for Mike Steph. There were some of those sprinkles of, oh, yeah, this would finally, thank you, this would finally come to fruition. So yeah, I'm not mad at it. I love that they're leaning into the power couple that they are in wrestling. And I think it's actually really cool, and frankly, it was needed that if we're going to have a new member join the Vision, that it would be someone from the women's roster. And why not have it be Becky Lynch? Of course, all the speculation online leaving the show, Brad, is could this be the avenue to get an AJ Lee return to wrestling? I don't know if you saw after the show, CM Punk took a fan sign that said, CM Punk, bring back AJ Lee. He took it from a fan in the audience. He looked at it, made a, this is an interesting idea, and then passed it back. So if we get AJ Lee back from this, I love it even more.
I saw him also at a live event go up to the security guard. Did you see that video of him going, somebody help, and he was crawling up to the barricade and he grabbed onto this older lady who's working security for the event and just arms over the top. It's like, will you help me? And everybody's cackling.
I didn't. I saw the Fightful
live events.
Yes,
so fun.
I saw the Fightful Select report that he was skipping at a recent live show over there in Europe. I think all of them ode to his wifey, to AJ.
Of course, I just think going back to the indie shows, I think every wrestler in their hearts that have ever worked those indie shows loves the indie shows. I think Seth Rollins even said main eventing WrestleMania and beating these giant sold out stadiums and beating these arenas and all this thing is great. But give me a 500 person, 400 person, 200 person crowd that is, you're just right there, and he misses that and loves that. And I think all of them do, because you're not interacting with the person in the top row. You're interacting with somebody 5 feet away from you. And then you feel way more invested in that crowd because you can see every person in the room, which probably positives and negatives. Because, sometimes you're 8 and sometimes you catch a beer right in the face for doing nothing but taking a nap. It's just what happens. Tyler, sometimes you take a nap after you visit a restaurant because you get so full. Sometimes that restaurant happens to serve breakfast all day, and it's in the news a lot. But I can't wait to hear your thoughts. It's time for It's Work Cracker Barrel Edition.
We were not going to leave. I was going to say we're not going to leave August because we're recording this on August 31st. Of course, our episode will drop on September 1. We were not going to leave August or start September without addressing the Cracker Barrel situation. Brad, you heard about the story. I heard about the story. Maybe our audience did as well. Cracker Barrel went on a media tour to promote their new logo. They were going to, past tense, they were going to get rid of the old school, the man next to a barrel, Cracker Barrel, come through. That's not their tagline, but, come through, have good eats. And they were just going to change it to Cracker Barrel. The words, brown lettering, yellow background, there it is. So their CEO, I believe, went on like the Today Show and again made the full media tour that, hey, we're unveiling this new design. And after we got feedback from all of our great customers and our managers and here it is. Only within a week or so later to totally reverse course. And this is after pushback from namely the president of the United States, Donald Trump, and maybe some other people online, that, oh, you're leaning into woke culture. Why get rid of something that works just fine? And so Cracker Barrel this past week ends up putting out a statement and says, we heard you. We listened to all of our amazing fans. We are keeping the old logo. Brad Winchester, I'm here to tell you the media tour spotlighting, promoting this new Cracker Barrel logo, a new era for the restaurant. It's smelling like a complete work. I've thought about it and I don't buy it for a second. I think this was just a shrewd way to get extra publicity for the restaurant. I think there was always the plan that we're going to get eyeballs on us, but then we're just going to revert back to what we were doing. We will see if it pays off, because I know many people who like Cracker Barrel who did not vote for the president and do not appreciate that Cracker Barrel has removed DEI language and other things from their website and from their other media assets over the summer. Mm-hmm. So I'm interested to see where it happens. I love their pancakes. I have some fond memories at Cracker Barrel, Brad. I don't know about you, but the seat, really. the rocking chair with the checkers and the gift store where you can buy like Elvis Presley and fruity gum,
all kinds of crap.
Yeah. Christmas ornaments. Yeah, I have a lot of affinity and a lot of nostalgia for Cracker Barrel, even though I get aesthetically, one may be surprised to hear that, but my family's dined at plenty of Cracker Barrels. I have friends that go there, like I said, of all different backgrounds and persuasions and political affiliations. So I'm interested to see what happens next, but Brad, this feels like a total work to me. I think it was completely unnecessary, but we'll see how Cracker Barrel does with the remainder of the year with their sales.
I don't have any fond memories of Cracker Barrel whatsoever. Nothing tied to that. There was none anywhere near where I lived. So it just simply wasn't a part of my childhood. Like I'd heard of them and stuff, but there's Upper Peninsula, Michigan. Like, what's your favorite memory of going to a Perkins, Tyler?
Yeah, never been.
There you go. So that's what I'm saying. So
have you been to the one off the Miranda exit?
Yeah, I've been there, and I love the country store.
Good experience.
I love the peg game at every table.
Yeah,
like all of that stuff.
That pancake syrup is, come on now.
The pancake syrup's great. The pancakes themselves having that crispy edge but fluffy.
Yeah, they know what they know what they're doing there.
It's really good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love the food, but I feel like it's not hard to figure out what's going on in the logo, and what's going on in the logo is kind of in the name. It's the first word.
Yeah.
And it's not barrel.
There's a white guy in the logo, everyone, in case you haven't seen it.
Like
he's wearing
that dude
overalls,
is way too full of himself too. The swag that this guy is putting on, like that MF is just like leaning into it, feeling himself, looking at it like, hey.
It looks like he just stepped off the set of Of Mice and Men.
Yes.
Right, like he's giving
John Steinbeck. He has comments about Curly's wife. Like for sure. He's like, yeah, we're going down to Miss Kitty's.
Yeah.
Like definitely. 100%.
That never stopped me or my family from going into Cracker Barrel. I don't know what it is, because aesthetically it's like,
it's good. Like Tyler, it's good.
And the people,
it's good.
The people are usually friendly in my experience.
They are. It has nothing to do with the people. It's just like the
right.
I think it was just like the whole. I mean, granted, I'm in a position where I don't care. Like, because I don't need to care. I don't have to care. I don't care because Cracker in the title, it just feels like I'm going home. So like when I walk into that country store, I feel like, all right, cool. And I think there's something about like the old timey nostalgic feel about it,
right?
That just feels like it. That makes it feel welcoming, even if it's not, or if it's just layers layers of coding. It's hard to know, and I'm trying not to overanalyze things anymore because like I miss Aunt Jemima. I just miss her. I miss her face on the label. I miss saying hello to her in the morning. Like Miss Buttersworth is just not the same. And now it's some kind of Mills Farms or whatever it is, and it's a windmill on there. I don't want that. Where's the nice lady on the bottle? That's what I want.
I grew up with Aunt Jemima as well, man. It's yeah, I remember many Saturday mornings for sure. I remember many Saturday mornings going to Cracker Barrel. I was just at Cracker Barrel like a few months ago before all this went down, before they started getting in the work business.
However, when I said I think I actually agree with you, I 100% agree with you. I feel like this was definitely like a move to be like, I know it'll generate buzz. Let's change the one thing we know we can't. But do we talk about it on here? I can't even remember. I had conversations about how like McDonald's and all of these buildings look exactly the same now.
You mentioned that. I believe you said that on air.
What building that sells pizza, do you know if it's something else that building sold pizza? It's Pizza Hut. No building was shaped like that ever if it wasn't a Pizza Hut. That weird triangle thing with a top on it, that was a Pizza Hut at the end. Cracker Barrel has the same facade, and they were trying to corporate it up to get away from that because then you can get these modular buildings that everybody else has. That way, store closes, you can sell it as a mattress firm or whatever else you want to do because it's not specifically a Pizza Hut. Because every time those close, like some mom and pop restaurant shows up to run that because nobody else will take it because you're not going to go to a place that looks like a Pizza Hut. So I understand from a marketing sense, it's going to be cheaper to start franchises, to renovate, and then to gobble up property, and then should just resell that property should a store close because it's too expensive. Now you own it. The franchisees have to rent basically they buy the store, but not the property. It's weird how that stuff works. So that if the store closes, it's on the property the place owns, and then that company can then sell that property to somebody else and make a ton of money off of it. And it's just weird and feels greasy, no pun intended, because Cracker Barrel. But I think like this just felt like a way to generate buzz. They were never going to change that. What's his name? Herschel, I think.
I didn't know that.
I saw. I think it was Herschel, and I thought, is it?
That guy's name is Herschel in the logo.
That guy's name. When I looked at him, I was like,
what?
That guy is Cody, or
yeah. I didn't know white guys could be named Herschel. But I also know someone white named
from
Malcolm.
The 1920s and 30s. Sure.
Yeah, Malcolm as well. When I met a white Malcolm, I was like, oh,
they could also be
my world
Arnie's.
changed. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Who knows?
I'm probably going to go to Cracker Barrel in September.
I have several friends. Like, I'm just going to shut the hell up, and I'm going to leave Herschel out of this.
I think we've stated how we
beaten this
feel
to
about
death.
this.
Yeah, I feel
How
like
we feel
we've
about this.
really cracked this open. Tyler, we got to talk about AEW.
We do.
Question.
We do.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll get right to it here. AEW has a residency at the 2300 Arena in Philly. Lots of ECW memories, of course. Love to see Taz get his flowers. I'm glad they posted that to YouTube. I saw, correct me if I'm wrong, Brad, that AEW is planning to air that celebration for Taz on Dynamite this week, which is really cool that he is being inducted into the 2300 Arena Hall of Fame. Certainly earned. I want to ask you about his son.
First inaugural, right?
Oh, I didn't realize that. That would make sense.
I thought he was the first one.
Wow. Yeah. But let's do it. You don't have to tell me twice. Speaking of Taz, his son, Hook, returned to AEW on last week's Dynamite. You may have received multiple messages from me over the last week regarding my love for his new theme song. I dig it. I'm glad he's back. Of course, he interrupted Wheeler Yuta and choked him out. He did the same thing, actually, on ROH. What was that? Death Before Dishonor, that event on Friday as well. So Hook is here. I want to know, Brad, and I kind of teased this last week, but I didn't really get your full thoughts on it. I think back to a few years ago when Hook debuted, and we were all just amazed at what we were seeing. We're like, oh, Taz's son can really go, and his presentation is unique, and he has the music, and he has the charisma. And here we are years later, and I don't know that he is... I'll just say this. I think in terms of what AEW does from a character perspective, in terms of the younger members of their roster, I don't know that there's a more important character who they need to get right with their return than Hook right now, because there was a lot of momentum originally. It kind of fizzled out, dare I say. He was FTW champion for a long time. Then he broke away from the Ops and is still not totally good with them, but we'll see. So my point, Brad, I'm excited Hook is back. I have no idea what's to come for him. I just hope it's substantive and it's interesting. Where are you at with Hook? And for you, thinking about the young talent that AEW is developing, how crucial do you think it is that AEW does something meaningful with him? And if anything, what are you hoping that is? Do you see a reunion with the Ops? Do you see him maybe charting his own path? What say you now that Hook is here?
I think he needs to chart his own path, number one. And number two, I think that it's incredibly important because it has signed him to another deal.
Right.
And I think it's a multi-year deal.
Right.
Did I hear 5? I can't remember how many years. But
I didn't hear the year, but I know there were reports, last year from Fightful Select that Hook's contract was running up. And, of course, the fan base said, oh, well, we could totally see him in NXT. And, even his vignettes, Brad, with the action figures and the chips, it's like, this is just so unique. And the Batman-esque spotlight, like they really have something here. I just wonder, what does that translate to now that he's re-upped?
I don't know. He's. I feel like the closest comp to what he does is, I don't know. Do we have anything? Daniel Garcia, maybe?
Maybe. And even then, it's different.
So different. Well, the character, not at all. But I'm just thinking in ring wise, there's not like a lot, right? Mm-hmm. Like he is so unique that I think they need to really keep presenting him the way they've been presenting him. I don't think he needs to go back to the Ops. I think there's stories to tell with him as a solo artist. I think what does Hook want? I don't have a clue what's going on there, but I would love to see him start doing stuff that, God's honest truth, like the feud for me for Hook that I think would have legs and would be a lot of fun. Jack Perry. If they can get Jack Perry back, I think a Hook heel Jack Perry feud would be a lot of fun. I just think that would be something that they both could benefit from that, because I don't know what's going on with Jack Perry. I don't know who he pissed off, but he's just been gone forever. And I assume he's healthy.
Right.
But I would love to see him come back because he's a lot of fun to watch.
And you remember that was the match. That was the match at, what was it, All Out? Where it was the Real Glass pal. You remember that? But I think both of them are into. I mean, granted, back then Hook
was pre-scapegoat Jack Perry, though. That's what I'm saying. Like,
I was going to say both of them. We were rooting for Hook back then and maybe booing Jack Perry, but both characters are in a different position now. And I would imagine, like you said, Brad, you were really wise to bring this up. If Hook is re-upped, I would imagine part of the negotiation process, especially with his dad being who his dad is, part of that had to be discussion about creative. And okay, I was FTW champion. I had some matches. I suplexed some dudes on their dome safely. But what is next for me now in this, what I would classify as like Hook 2.0? Okay, new music, new this or that. But what's that going to lead to? Yeah, and who are the dance partners going to be? And Jack Perry, like you said, we haven't seen him in a minute. I wonder if Hook ends up going for, now that the FTW title is defunct, do we see a future TNT program? Probably too soon for a unified
going after Okada
program. I mean,
that would be a fun.
That would be a big step up.
Match.
Right.
I don't.
Maybe we're not there yet, but TNT seems.
No, I don't think so either. But TNT seems reasonable.
Likely. Right.
Yeah. I could see. Yeah. I'm a big Hook fan, and I think they're. As long as they don't stick him in the Death Riders. And it feels like they're working Yuta out of it a little bit because he's getting a little bit more Yuta-like the old Wheeler, right? Like he's doing little comments and stuff backstage and everybody's like, hey, shut up. Like, I kind of love that. Like he's leaking out because he didn't really want to be in there in the first place and they sort of pulled him in reluctantly. So we know he never really wanted to be there. So like him coming out would be a fun story to tell. Maybe he and Yuta form a team and go after the tag belts. I could see that happening too. Like there's a lot of ways that this could go. I don't know. Does he do something with Hobbs? Is that why he's mad at the Ops? Because he was with Hobbs for the FTW stuff when Ricky was there. Like what does all of this look like? I'm intrigued. I guess that's the point. Is I just want to see what happens.
Yeah. No, me too. I was just thinking back. I think I said All Out earlier. It was actually All In. That was London.
Right,
that was
the
CM
first
Punk's
one.
last match. Yeah, that was on the pre-show. Yeah, man, I'm intrigued, and this is really what WWE is facing as well, because that Fatal 4-Way match, that closed Clash in Paris. Okay, you have LA Knight, Seth Rollins, Jey Uso, and CM Punk, all men who are in their late 30s or even their 40s. With AEW, okay, Hangman Page is champ. Hangman is a younger man, as is MJF. But a lot of those other acts, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, you continue on for some of those top folks. Of course, Chris Jericho, who we haven't spoken about him, but may be on his way out of the company near the end of the year. What's that next class that you're really raising up in AEW? I remember when we had our fantasy draft episode here on GI, and I think I drafted Hook like number 4, Brad. I was really going for it, and I wonder, because I was so high on, man, I don't know what the next 5 years look like for this guy, but there's so much intrigue around him. Let's just see what happens. I thought we'd be a little bit further along now, storyline wise, but I just think his presentation is so unique. He's totally his dad's kid in that regard, his dad's son, excuse me. That whatever it is, I just think creatively, not just in ring wise, but I think creatively, we could be onto something really good. I have no idea what it is, but I would love to see some new dance partners thrown in there. And I agree with you that although I do want to salvage that op story, I think him branching off on his own actually is going to be the more fruitful move at this point.
I'm still surprised that he didn't end up in Blackpool Combat Club to begin with. That one, that's always felt like, why wouldn't you do that? Like, it's just, the dude is like, he's doing judo throws and fights like a fighter, not like a wrestler, even though he's doing wrestling moves. His throws and stuff, it's like shoot style stuff. He makes a ton of sense in that group where it's like, all right, you need somebody to go choke someone out. Who do you got that's better than that? Like, have him go do it. Him and Mox doing a bulldog, and then Hook getting in there and doing a Taz mission, the Red Rum, right? Like, that's, come on now, no brainer. Tyler, mine is pretty simple. I have to actually scroll up to find it here because I was looking at my notes. What do you think? This is very simple. What do you think of after going to the live event, the difference between the 2300 arena experience and what it looks like on television? What is your level of viewing enjoyment for the arena, and what do you think it's like being in the arena for both talent and fans? And
this is thinking of our AWF experience.
Yeah.
At both shooters at a smaller venue.
I'm just thinking like it's small venue.
Very small. Yeah, it's real cool, and it's completely different. And you and I were talking about this when we were
reminds me of Dark, actually. Dark tapings is what
you and I were talking about this because we've been blessed to be at several shows now together at completely different venues, from the PHX Arena, right? Huge venue, seats tens of thousands of people, versus Arizona Financial Theater for Dynamite earlier this year, which was much smaller, to Desert Diamond Arena at Westgate, and then now all the way to Bullshooters. Yeah, it's pretty jarring to see Dynamite there, because I remember the early days of Dynamite, them filling these huge basketball arenas. Mm-hmm. And now I do enjoy, because it was time to pivot. You and I spoke about this ad nauseum on the show, Brad. It was time to pivot, to try out different arenas. And I love that each arena AEW's visited, or each venue, I should say, has its own character. And I love, say, during the Death Riders entrance or during some backstage segments, we can see the different nuances and the different architecture of each place. And now going to the 2300 arena, which is a location that a lot of us have nostalgia for, going back legendary to the ECW days. Yeah, I think it's really cool, because if we just rewind to the origins of AEW, ECW in many ways was kind of the spiritual predecessor for an AEW. And Tony Khan is, I don't know if he's used that quote, but he's really said as much as recently as last week when they returned. So understanding the history and how an ECW led way for an AEW to be created, really cool in a spiritual way in that regard. And then also just from a TV viewer perspective, I really enjoyed the aesthetics of it. Even the entranceway paying homage to ECW, I thought was really cool. I could only imagine being in the building for this show. There were less than 1,000 people in 2300. They sold it out. It must be pretty neat, man, because you and I really enjoyed we didn't enjoy the lack of legroom at bull shooters, but the fact that you could hear, the ring, you could really hear the move, you could just really, again, this is something we've kind of threaded throughout the show. When you're at these smaller venues, you can just really appreciate the performance art of it all, right? The spectacle of it. And of course, going to a show and seeing pyro and all that, that's incredibly fun. But then also, if you get the chance to go to a smaller show, such as Dynamite, the 2300 Arena, I would imagine it really unlocks a different part of your fandom because you are so close to the action and you can just really, again, I think acknowledge and appreciate those parts of the show that maybe you don't necessarily when you're 10, 20, 30 rows up at a bigger venue. So I dig it, and it reminded me of being a kid and watching ECW and discovering wrestling for the first time.
I loved it. I think it's great, and I exactly agree with you. I think the first time I thought that way, and it might have been one of the first actual different kinds of venues, was when they came to the Arizona Theater. Mm-hmm. When we went to the Dynamite Collision tapings. I think that might have been the first one because there was no back seating. It was like the stage was used as the stage. The entrance was the stage for the theater, and right off of the stage right wing was the announce table, and then you had the ramps, and we sat down on the floor, and then like when the barricade was like essentially the actual barricade built into the theater for the front row seats. So it was really cool seeing that in like the orchestra pit, and then having it shoot straight up into the air where this is a theater. To do that and have like Tony Storm go out into that balcony through the theater, having people fighting up in the boxes.
The gimmick balcony.
The gimmick balcony is exactly what I was thinking. This is such a funny reference. Oh, it's such a good reference. All of that, I think it's great. And then to have it at a place that is, not only did Tony Khan establish a residency there because of what it meant to him, and going to his first wrestling show was an ECW event, and what ECW did to impact the business and affect AEW, and having Taz on commentary, which he's done for 25 years, something like that. He's been doing it for a long time. I don't think he gets nearly enough credit for the longevity of his broadcasting career, and he's been doing it at a high level. But to also have his career honored in that space, and we know what that space means, and allowing other people to view it maybe for the first time to go like, why are we here? Oh, because this space is important. They're acknowledging the history of the place. I just think that's so cool because it's like a bit of a history lesson baked in with your sports entertainment and your pro wrestling. And like we've talked about how that first One Night Stand is one of our favorite pay-per-views of all time. It certainly is for me because of the nostalgia, because of the talent coming back out and going like, these are basically cameos that are happening. But to have at the ROH event, the Blue Meanie come out with Athena and Billy Starks. I don't know if you caught that.
Oh, I did. Thank you, Tony Khan, for posting it on YouTube. Yes. I was shook when I saw it's free right now. Of course, I let it click. I saw a good portion of that
afterward.
show.
I was really excited.
Yeah, the Blue Meanie with they hit the little dance. I was here for it.
Yeah, the
Mina hit the dance. I'm here for it.
Yeah, it was awesome. So like just acknowledging all the people that came before to go, this is what happened, and here's why we're here, and also we're going to put on our show for you to honor this space. Doing both of those things, I think that's so cool. Now, a casual fan flipping through seeing that just watched Clash, turning that on might go, huh? I'm 14. What happened to all the people? Like they might not have a clue because they don't understand the history.
Right.
Maybe they watch the thing because it's awesome because the graps are good and you find out a little bit. Maybe they check out ECW and get mad when they find out WWE ultimately put the nail in that coffin.
Mm-hmm. And how cool is it for the fans in Philly or the fans who are traveling there? This past week, they saw the reunion of Hangman and Kenny Omega. This week, they're getting Mercedes Moné defending the TBS title against Alex Winza.
Amazing.
That's
Winza.
Winza. So do you think Alex Winza is okay? I don't either. Thank you. But shout out to her. She is having an amazing run in her first year with the company.
It's gonna be a great match.
Really cool for the fans to be able to see. That was signaling my excitement. Being able to see.
I wanted to do it too, just to feel a part of it.
Being able to see Mercedes in a very intimate venue like that's. I'm being long-winded. I hope that main event's Dynamite. I'm really excited for that match, and I think Mercedes is winning just like you. But shout out Alex wins it.
It's going to be the best match of the night for sure. Tyler, it's that time. What did we miss?
It is that time. I don't think we missed much, but I do have 2 items I want to address. It was the engagement that nearly broke the internet. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. They're tying the knot, Brad. When is the last celebrity wedding that has been this big of a deal? I was going to research it before we came on, and I just didn't.
Royal.
But it has to be the royal wedding. American wedding-wise, celebrities, is there anything in recent memory that compares to Swift and Kelce? This is the one.
No, this is the one.
I think it's going to be on TV.
I also don't care about these things at all. So,
I don't
at all.
I know
this might have happened, then I would have missed it because I was like, oh man, there's reruns of the animated Batman show on TV right now. Click. I was 38 when this happened. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I don't. Cool.
Pop culture. Yeah. 2 of our worlds, entertainment, sports. Yeah. They're colliding, and yeah, I'm certain we will talk about this.
Oh yeah, I'm tuning in because it's relevant. It is. I also had that on my notes. I said Tuesday, August 26th, the greatest day in American history for white women. Taylor Swift engaged.
Can we note that?
Hold on.
Okay.
Starbucks fall flavors came out on that day too.
Wow.
Pumpkin spice latte and Swifties.
And the Cracker Barrel logo is back.
And the Cracker Barrel logo is back for the. Well, you know what I'm going to say there. I'm going to leave it alone.
Okay, we will leave. We will leave that one.
We should just leave.
That should just be it. No, I got to get this off. Well, there's no transition from white women into Ashe wrestling, but Ashe 11 is this Saturday in Charlotte. And the inaugural.
I was going to say cracker, so I'm glad you. It was going to get worse.
Shout out to Darius Lockhart and the team, black-owned wrestling company out of North Carolina. Brad, the inaugural Ashe Women's Champion will be crowned this Saturday. Aaliyah James, Maya World, Khan, again the aforementioned Darius Lockhart, and more are scheduled to wrestle at Ashe 11. As we await streaming information, you can follow the company at Ashe Wrestling. That's ASE Wrestling, or AsheWrestling.com. What you got, B?
Not a lot. I only had the Swiftie thing. I also had 2 things we talked about: the Cracker Barrel logo and Taz getting his flowers after Dynamite, which we get to watch this week anyway in its entirety. Even though it's already up online, you can check it out then. But I'm glad the masses will get to experience that. I'm sure there are other things that we missed, including Micah Parsons is a Green Bay Packer.
See, I wasn't even gonna step on your territory. I was curious to see if you were gonna bring that up. Congratulations! This is a big moment for you.
It is not as big as this shower is going to be the second we're done here.
Say less. I love it, Brad. We love you all. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you have a restful and a safe Labor Day. You can follow us at GIPod19 for exclusive show updates and more. We will see you next week. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.